the great honor and privilege of introducing the Comptroller, who has been serving under 4 governors now. That's exactly what I was going to say. Governors come and go, but Tom DiNapoli stays. Thank you so much for choosing to have your Pride event for this year here at the Empowerment Center. And without further ado, please put your hands together for the State Comptroller, Tom DiNapoli.
Thank you, Elisa, very much. Give it up for Elisa Crespo again, and the team here at New Pride Agenda. She made my job a lot easier by doing those introductions, so thank you. And you're all special and you're all appreciated. So give yourselves a round of applause for joining us. It really is wonderful to be here. It is very special to be celebrating Pride Month alongside such a wonderful group of honorees, real visionaries, organizations and individuals whose service and commitment have really helped to bring historic wins for the LGBTQIA community across New York State. Of course, I'm talking about our own Elisa Crespo, and our own Honorable Harry Bronson, and ACR Health, Lisa Dunn-Alford, the Executive Director. Give them a round of applause. You're going to be hearing more about them in a moment. Before we begin, I do want to just mention a memory for Cecilia Gentili, who passed earlier this year, as you know. Cecilia was a founding board member of New Pride Agenda, and a force to be reckoned with in her advocacy for trans rights. Her unwavering commitment and fearlessness helped amplify the voices of trans folks, especially trans people of color, and this had a positive impact on countless New Yorkers, and it will continue to do so. How about a round of applause for Cecilia's memory? Elisa was kind to acknowledge the elected officials. Eric Botcher was here. He had to leave for another event. Also, Assembly member Harvey Epstein was here. Give him a round of applause. But 2 of those prominent, and by the way, Assemblyman Harry Bronson would have been here even if he wasn't an honoree. I want to make that clear. I don't want you to think he's only here because he's being honored. It means you got to be here next year. No, I'm only kidding. But 2 of our elected colleagues who are just wonderful colleagues in government and really among the best, providing great service not only for the people of Manhattan, where they hail from, but for really all the people of the state of New York. So before we get into my remarks, I appreciate their being here. I know how busy they are. I'd like to give each of them a chance to come up and give greetings. So first, even though I was from the Assembly, I got to start with the Senate because they think they got bigger titles, and all that. Senator, come on, protocol. Plus, you'll be brief because Tony's got another event too, right? Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel, one of the best right there.
Thank you, Mr. Controller. I just want to say this is such an honor to be here with you. First of all, Elisa, this is exactly what I know you intended this to be, a hub for our community, and it's working out pretty nicely. So thank you for that, and I'm very impressed. Secondly, Mr. Controller, your honorees could not be more appropriate. I, for one, have served alongside Assemblymember Bronson for a number of years, and I am so proud that an out LGBTQ man is leading the Labor Committee and the New York State Assembly. That is a big deal, a very important role, and Harry and I have worked on a number of issues together, including with Elisa, which is making New York State a safe haven for transgender children, their families, and their physicians who want to provide gender-affirming care. That was historic. Harry helped make it happen in the Assembly. I'm so proud to work alongside him. And then finally, just a word about our Controller and his amazing work, particularly in the area of auditing and making certain that our communities are safe. The Controller launched an audit of hate crimes across the state of New York. We've built on that information this session by passing legislation called the Stop Hiding Hate Act, which is going to require social media companies like Twitter and Facebook and others to report for the first time in New York to the State Attorney General incidents of hate on their platform and what they're doing about it. So it's all about public accountability. When I think of public accountability, I think of Tom DiNapoli and all the work he does. It's great to have an independent voice and someone to guide the legislature on issues of importance to our community. Thank you, Mr. Comptroller.
Nobody gets more done than Brad Hoylman Siegel. Thank you again, Senator, for being here. This district is well served, not only by the senator, but a great member of the State Assembly, somebody I know for a long time. Was really delighted when he had the opportunity after the forever serving Dick Gottfried retired, and this district chose well in picking Tony Simone to be his successor. He's doing a great job in Albany. Tony, offers his thoughts.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Assemblymember Tony Simone. I love that the New Pride Agenda is here because my office is 2 doors over. Very convenient. And I just want to first acknowledge Tom DiNapoli. I've known you for so many years. I didn't have gray hair when I first met you. I was a child. And I had forgotten you were in the Assembly. But yes, as Brad said, you're an amazing controller, holding people accountable. And I'm so glad to work with your office, including Liz Edmond, who we've been working with, to push more legislation to hold people accountable and to protect our community. I want to sing the praises of Harry Bronson, because when I need a little advice on the floor of the Assembly on protocol or how to push bills, I go over to Harry, what the hell do I do? And Harry is a wealth of wisdom, and it's so amazing that you're the labor chair. I come from a labor family, so I get it, and I look to you for even more guidance in the years to come, and hopefully one day joining you on the Labor Committee. And also, I want to especially acknowledge Lisa Crespo, a rock star, a badass. I only met you maybe 2-3 years ago through our mutual friend, Julian Klein, I believe, and you were doing such amazing work. And pushing some of the issues that are not always popular among all our colleagues, including, I'm going to say it wrong, GERD, to ensure that our transgender brothers and sisters are protected when they're incarcerated and treated like human beings. So Lisa does more than amazing work. And I know you were part of the fight recently with the CEC that passed a horrible resolution coming after our transgender kids, and your organization with us and many others in the Manhattan Borough President remove some of the horrible human beings who are going after our kids, because when they come after our kids, we're going to fight back. Amen. Don't mess with us. And I also want to acknowledge, of course, ACR, the Health Q Center, for all the great work you do. And I just want to leave one final note. I know you said, I can't wait till Pride is over. My husband said, you're going how many Pride events this week? But you know, I actually love going to the Pride events as elected. They actually invite you. No, I'm kidding. But it is an amazing week, but we should have Pride all year long, not just this week or this month. Because there are many communities we know around New York State and out of New York State who don't have the fun we have and the privileges we have. And I want to leave on the last note is, someone actually came up to me the other day and said, why do you, they didn't know I was an elected, I think, but they said, why do you still celebrate Pride? You're so old. And I was like, excuse me? And you're actually going dancing after you march? I'm like, hell yeah. Because we celebrate Pride for all those folks that can. That's right. And we celebrate Pride for those folks who are persecuted by their family or under oligarchs or autocrats around the world. And we want them to come to New York. And we celebrate for the transgender kids who can't be who they are. We want them to join our family in New York. That's why we celebrate Pride. And we celebrate and dance for the folks we lost in Orlando. And for all those folks who can't be who they are, we say, come to New York. We welcome you here. We want you here. We will be your family here. And I know New Pride Agenda is part of that. So happy Pride, everyone. I'm looking forward to celebrating all week.
Thank you, Tony. That was great. Give Tony another round of applause. Very eloquent, terrific. So, again, I appreciate everybody coming out for our annual Pride event. I want to certainly acknowledge my staff's great efforts. Our intergovernmental team really worked very hard to pull it together. Special recognition to Liz Edmond. Thank you, Liz, for your great leadership on this. Our annual Pride event is a chance for us to take stock of where we are, where we need to go in the fight for equality and justice. We've obviously come a long way over the years, certainly when you think of the milestone of marriage equality, more than a decade ago become the change in New York State. But we know that the work is far from over, especially as we witness increased attacks on trans lives across our nation. The Supreme Court has grown increasingly conservative. There are signals that marriage rights, access to gender-affirming care, and legal protections for LGBTQIA+ people could in fact be at risk. In fact, when you look at the number of bills, legislation across the nation that's been introduced targeting the community, especially those targeting trans people, and how those pieces of legislation in terms of numbers have skyrocketed in the past years, we certainly know our work is not done. From drag bans and barriers in accessing IDs, to Don't Say Gay laws, to bans on gender-affirming care and bathroom bans, now is the time for us all to stay focused in the fight for equality. Right? Right. Here in New York, we're fortunate to live in a state where the majority, overwhelming majority, of our elected officials are committed to this goal. New York aims to be a safe place for trans people to secure gender-affirming care, which is not only validating for trans folks, it's life-saving. That's why it's so fitting that the new Pride Agenda is hosting this event and that we are here, because you have played a critical role in making New York a better and safer place, where everyone has access to housing, quality health care, and dignity in living their true identities. Let's give another round of applause for New Pride Agenda. And that's why we need even more supportive organizations and leaders that are ready to ease the challenges facing those who are seeking support. Leaders like Assemblymember Harry Bronson, who has been a dedicated champion for the LGBTQIA+ community all across New York State. This is especially important when we consider that many of the centers offering gender-affirming care are located actually in Western New York, outside of New York City. And organizations like ACR Health, to give ACR Health a round of applause too. 2 years ago, ACR Health's Q Center hosted a family that fled their home state, where legislators were passing bills denying protections to LGBTQIA+ youth and access to gender-affirming care. The Q Center offered the family a safe place to stay as they found housing. Today, I'm pleased to report the family's daughter is gainfully employed and is an active participant in many Q Center activities, including as a Q Center volunteer for the Tween Time Social Support Group, where she supports younger queer and trans students in her community. It's a great success story. It's about making New York a safer, more inclusive community for all. And certainly, once again, about the new Pride Agenda. Let me just mention, and Lisa probably will mention this as well, the initiative Mapping Hate in a Safe State, which maps anti-LGBTQIA+ bias-related incidents all across New York. This project shines a light on the fact that New York, with its very robust anti-discrimination protections and resources, is in fact not immune to the rise in anti-LGBTQIA+ hate that is spreading across the country. It's a call to action for all of us to take these issues seriously. It's been our privilege in the Comptroller's Office to partner with the New Pride Agenda on this project. In fact, this initiative was born out of research partially from our intergovernmental affairs team at the OSC, when our team began tracking book banning incidents across New York. At our OSC, Office of State Comptroller, Pride event last year, we focused on the issue of book banning. We honored a school librarian who had been targeted in a book banning effort. We also honored the Brooklyn Public Library for their Books on Banned program. Liz Edmond, our Director of Community Outreach, reached out to Elisa about our team's research on book banning incidents, which helped to lead to this agenda of mapping hate in a safe state. Our ultimate goal is keeping the community safe and eliminating hate and bias from our state so we can continue to be a safe haven for all. I would just mention, right before we get to the honorees, some of the other work that we do in my office involves work with the corporate sector. As many of you know, one of my responsibilities is to serve as trustee of the New York Common Retirement Fund, pension fund that provides retirement benefits for 1.2 million New Yorkers. And we had a great year that ended with almost 12% rate of return, so we're doing good. So yes, it's very good. So your pensions are set. But as an investor, I continue to leverage my role as a significant investor to push companies we invest in to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace and eliminate discrimination. Our most recent initiative, we contacted 17 of our larger portfolio companies, including some of the names you would know like Aflac, Albertsons, Caterpillar, among others, asked them to disclose LGBTQIA+ equity and inclusion efforts as part of their workforce management strategy. We know that companies that are more diverse and inclusive have a competitive advantage in terms of recruitment and retention of talent, which is good for the long-term success of the company and, in turn, the success of our pension fund. In addition, research has shown that companies that adopt LGBT inclusive policies financially outperform their peers. Not only is it the right thing to do, it's good business sense. Recognizing biases in both the hiring process and the workplace helps create a more inclusive corporate culture, a win-win. That's what we call doing well by doing good. But when companies we invest in are not living up to their commitments to diversity and inclusion, we also speak out and reach out and speak up. For example, recently there have been news reports that Best Buy was retreating from their long-held commitments to the LGBT community. We reached out to the company, asked for clarification on the company's actions. We'll continue to seek answers related to Best Buy's actions to ensure they're living up to their own commitments to inclusivity for the LGBTQIA+ community. New York has long been a beacon of hope for the community. With your support, we can continue to make New York a haven for all and stand firmly against any and all attacks on LGBTQIA+ rights. And that's because everyone deserves to be proud of who they are. Right?
Yeah.
So, let's get on to our wonderful honorees. Enough about our work in the Comptroller's office. I'm going to call each of them forward, and I'll say a few words. We'll make a presentation, and we will let them offer some thoughts. And keep those fans going so we keep them cool as they come up. First, let me call forward Assemblymember Harry Bronson. A little bit about the Assemblymember, for those of you who don't know. Raised on a family farm with 11 siblings, oh my God, and parents who instilled a strong work ethic and the importance of family and community. Assemblymember Bronson received his bachelor's degree from SUNY Oswego College and a law degree from the University of Buffalo. Practiced anti-discrimination law, served in the Monroe County Legislature, and with his husband, John White Bronson, co-founded Equal Grounds, an inclusive coffee house and LGBTQIA+ community gathering place. I've been there, but you guys sold it, right?
Sold it.
But it's still there.
Still there.
And it's still doing well.
And still owned by somebody in the community.
There you go.
A woman of color.
As you've heard, he currently serves as chair of this Assembly Standing Committee on Labor. And in that position, a very important position, he's dedicated to advancing worker protections, workplace safety, social justice, labor reforms, fair wages, healthcare access, and of course, LGBTQIA+ equality in the workplace. He's passed significant legislation to protect public schools and give LGBTQ couples the right to marry. He's been a leader on all of those good and important causes. I've had the privilege to work with Harry on issues. I remember when we did the Dignity for All Students audit, we did that and announced it in Rochester. I knew when he was a staffer. I was a staffer once in the Assembly too before I was in the Assembly. He's always been one of the good guys, and nobody's harder working, nobody does it with greater heart. Really, you honor us by traveling down to the city to accept this acknowledgement. This is just a small way to say thank you for your great leadership. The mic is yours, Assemblymember Harry Bronson.
Thank you so much, Tom. I'm really honored. And, you know, if you actually have this event in Rochester next year, I definitely will attend. Because, you know, we have honorees in Rochester, too. So, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be with the other honorees. And, you know, I think it's important to remember today, June 24th. June 24th, 2011, at 11:55, then Governor Cuomo signed marriage equality into law. So we're on that anniversary. It's also important to remember today. 2 years ago, the Supreme Court rendered the Dobbs decision and said that a woman's right to choose wasn't based in privacy in the Constitution, and body autonomy wasn't based in privacy. Two things that really has allowed our LGBTQ plus movement to go forward, whether it was decriminalizing same-sex, whether it was authorizing marriage across the country, are based on those two principles. And we know today, even though we've come so far, we know today that our community is under threat. And there's a faction in this country that believes if you're different, then you're an other. And if you're an other, then somehow you're a threat. And if you're a threat, we're gonna have to control you. We're gonna have to take care of you. If you're an other, then you're not valued. That's the country we live in today. I live by a motto that says, no matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from, how you identify, or who you love, we all have dignity. With that dignity, we deserve equity, we deserve justice, and we deserve opportunities. If we're going to continue to have a country that follows that idea, that believes inclusion is better than exclusion, that understands that our diversity is our strength, and our unity is our power. If we understand that, and we know that we live in the context in which we live in today, then we have to fight back. We have to fight back against Nassau County. I have no idea what the legislature did today. We know the executive order wasn't enforceable. I don't know, the legislature was supposed to vote today. Another attack on our transgender nonconforming community. We know that there are all kinds of attacks. In my small town, the town of Riga, where I live with my wonderful husband, John White Bronson, right here, would you give him a round of applause? In our small town, there was a movement to remove all gay books out of the town library. Fortunately, the librarian and the town council were able to push back against that. We know that 2 years ago at Equal Grounds, we received hate mail. And the restaurant up the street from us, owned by two lesbians, also received hate mail from the same person. We know that last week in Rochester, a group of people were coming out of a restaurant, heading back to their office. A gentleman was driving his car. They looked gay to him. He said, "I'm gonna kill you effing faggot." Tried to run him over with his car. Wasn't successful. Followed them into their office and proceeded to beat him up. Fortunately, we worked with the mayor's office, we worked with the Rochester Police Department. That person is now facing hate crime charges. That's the world we live in. So we have to make sure that we're ever vigilant in fighting back against hate. During marriage equality, we said love wins. Love will win here too. If we love each other, if we see the humanity and the dignity in every person, even if they're different, then we will win, and love will win. And if we continue to work with people like Trillium Health, Jason's here, and Mary Beth is over here. We celebrated last week, we had a press conference, $750,000 to Trillium Health to help with housing for people living with HIV. One of the first clinics that opened up to deal with the AIDS epidemic, and I know with your organization in Syracuse, we'll continue to fight in that front as well. So I will leave with this thought. Congressmember John Lewis, civil rights is not a fight of a day, it's not a fight of a week, it's not a fight of a month or even a year. Civil rights is a fight of a lifetime. We're in this fight, It's a lifetime fight. We can do that, and we can win. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Give it up again for Assemblymember Harry Bronson. Very eloquent and important words. Well, you've already heard a lot about Elisa Crespo and New Pride Agenda, but it's about time you heard something more. Elisa Crespo, please step forward, our next honoree. Executive Director of New Pride Agenda, after receiving a bachelor's degree in political science from John Jay College. Elisa Crespo, a trans Latina advocate and the first transgender woman of color to seek public office in the Bronx. Served as, yeah, you can applaud that. Served as Bronx Borough President, Educational Liaison, and was appointed Executive Director of the New Pride Agenda, founded to educate and advocate for the most marginalized members of the LGBTQIA+ community. Under Elisa's leadership, the New Pride Agenda, headquartered right here at its Midtown Manhattan Empowerment Center, advocated for cultural competency training to more than 340,000 state employees under the Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act, won the repeal of the Walking While Trans ban, secured funding for financial literacy workshops, and developed the innovative Mapping Hate in a Safe State initiative. That's a big agenda already with a lot more underway, and I just know we're going to continue to have great things coming from Elisa's leadership of the New Pride Agenda. So Elisa Crespo and New Pride Agenda, I congratulate you on all that you've done, wish you continued success with your very important work, and it's a privilege to be in your home and to honor you.
Thank you so much, Comptroller, for those kind words. And I just want to start by saying that Pride is a protest, and that Pride started as a riot 55 years ago by Black and brown trans sex workers and homeless people and gender nonconforming people who got tired of being discriminated against and who were going to stand up and fight for their rights because no one else would do that for them. And they understood 55 years ago that we keep us safe. I want to thank Liz Edmond so much for choosing the New Pride Agenda to have your event here today. It means so much to us to see community members in our space. I want to thank the elected officials who are here. We work very closely with Harry Bronson, with State Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel, who quietly snuck out. We don't always agree on everything, right? Let's just be candid here. But these gentlemen are doing amazing work in the state legislature. It is because of them and with their support that, and with New Pride Agenda's leadership, that we have now been able to distribute over $12 million to trans-led and serving nonprofits all across the state, from Buffalo to Rochester to Albany to New York City to Long Island, all over our state. People are benefiting from the Lorena Borjas Trans Wellness and Equity Fund, and we could not have gotten that done without the advocates, but without the support from people like Assemblymember Harry Bronson, Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel, Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz, Tony Simone, and so many other folks in Albany who are champions for our community. And we can't get it done without the Comptroller's signature because he signs. All the legislative funding and contracts. So thank you, Comptroller, for that very important piece of the work there. Look, it's been such an honor to lead this organization. I don't do this work alone. I have a team of 7 other capable, talented, incredible people, a board of 13 individuals who believe in my leadership and my vision, who helped us get this organization as far as we've been able to in the last 5 years. And so please don't forget that Pride is a protest. It is not about rainbow flags. It is not about having a good time and celebrating. It's about standing up for our rights. And just today, our team was out on Nassau County, at the Nassau County Legislature, testifying, showing up, and speaking out, and standing up for the rights of trans people. Yes, we have robust protections, yes, but we are also living in a state where probably as we speak, trans women are banned from playing in county-run facilities on Nassau County. So my friends, we have work to do. This work is far from over. We are still overly, disproportionately represented in homelessness and poverty, in lack of education, and lack of housing. And so while we have traveled a great distance, we have a tremendous distance still yet before us to travel. And so thank you for believing in our work at the New Pride Agenda, and thank you so much for this honor today, Comptroller.
Give it up again for Elisa Crespo and New Pride Agenda. So we honor individuals, we honor organizations, so it's a real privilege to honor ACR Health. I'd like to call forward the Executive Director, Lisa Dunn Alford. And Lisa's also joined by Charlie Rasamilia, Program Coordinator. So a little bit about ACR Health. Created 4 decades ago in response to the HIV/AIDS crisis, ACR Health has provided communities with testing, prevention, and harm reduction services, care for people living with complex health conditions, vital LGBTQIA+ affirming programs, and shelter for families who have migrated to New York to escape transphobia and other forms of discrimination. ACR Health's innovative Q centers offer safe spaces for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth and their allies and families through programming that promotes equality, celebrates diversity, and cultivates pride and leadership skills by opening doors to services that enhance the well-being of all. So I really want to commend ACR Health for your outstanding work. Thank you for coming downstate to be with us. And Lisa, it was great talking with you. You have a beautiful spirit. I could see why you're a great leader. And it's really our privilege to honor you as part of our Pride celebration.
One of the benefits when you turn 60, I turned 60 in October, is that you need larger print. So while my colleagues had iPhones, I've got an iPad. And also glasses. So thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Comptroller DiNapoli, and I would also say to my other honorees for this prestigious recognition. It is an honor to be here today, representing the Q Center at ACR Health, an organization deeply committed to supporting LGBTQ youth and young adults across Central New York, the Mohawk Valley, and Northern New York, what you all call upstate. The Q Center began its journey in Utica in 1998 and has since expanded to Syracuse in 2002 and Watertown in 2015. Our mission has always been to provide a safe and supportive environment for LGBTQIA youth and young adults ages 5 to 29, as well as their parents and caregivers. And through our diverse programming, including social support groups, family peer advocacy, care management, we aim to foster a sense of community, belonging, and resilience. Our social support groups are tailored to different age ranges. You heard me talk about 5 to 29. So we've got LGBTQ youth and allies for ages 13 to 17, LGBTQ young adult groups for ages 18 to 29, tween time for youth 10 to 12, and even Q Center kids for those 9 and under, accompanied by their parents. These groups provide critical spaces for connection, understanding, and growth, addressing the unique challenges facing those of the LGBTQIA community and their families. Over the years, we have grown significantly. We now operate 3 brick-and-mortar locations in Syracuse, Utica, and Watertown, with additional off-site programming in places that you may not have heard of, like Lowville, Gouverneur, Canton, Ogdensburg, Little Falls, Cazenovia, and Auburn. Our dedicated team of 6 full-time staff members, supported by numerous volunteers, works tirelessly to deliver our programs and services. And in the past year alone, we've seen an increased participation across our permanent locations, serving 100 unduplicated youth in Northern New York, another 146 unduplicated in Central New York, and 50 in the Mohawk Valley. Additionally, we've supported 80 parents through our Family Peer Advocacy Program. This growth is a testament to the essential role we play in the lives of LGBTQIA youth and their families. And we know that funding is always a crucial element in our ability to expand and sustain our programs. And we are grateful for the support of our various funding sources, like the LGBTQ Health and Human Services Grant, Youth Bureau grants, United Way funding. And this financial backing has allowed us to implement vital programs like our cultural competency training, which has educated over 10,000 individuals on allyship and best practices for creating welcoming environments. Now more than ever, the services provided by the Q Center are critically needed. In a time when LGBTQIA individuals and their families are facing increasing social and political challenges, our support networks and safe spaces are absolutely essential. The rise in discrimination, mental health crisis, and homelessness among LGBTQIA youth highlights the urgency of our work. Our programs offer not only a refuge, but also a source of empowerment and hope for young people navigating these tumultuous times. And despite our successes, there is still much, much more work that could be achieved with, we know, additional resources. Housing, as we know, remains a significant challenge, particularly in Syracuse and many of our surrounding counties, where affordable and safe housing options are scarce and face many financial constraints. And looking ahead, we look to expand so we can reach and impact more youth and their families. With increased resources, we know that we could increase and help alleviate the pressures on our current staff and our programming. Our goal is to continue providing comprehensive support and resources to LGBTQIA youth and their families, fostering a more inclusive and supportive community. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. This is no time for apathy or complacency. This is a time for vigorous and positive action." Marsha P. Johnson stated that no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. And I believe that now is the time, and we are absolutely the people to continue this important work to help liberate all of us. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Comptroller DiNapoli for this recognition, to our dedicated staff, as was mentioned, one of which is with us today, Charlie. Thank you. Charlie Rosamilia, who is our Central New York Q Center coordinator. Thank you for traveling with me today. Our volunteers, and to all our supporters and partners. Together, we make a profound difference in the lives of LGBTQIA+ youth, creating a brighter and more inclusive future for us all. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Lisa. Whatever you're running for, I'm voting for you. That was great. Thanks to you and Charlie for traveling here and accepting that on behalf of ACR Health. And just so you know, I've been to the Cream Cheese Festival in Lowville, New York. So I've been to all those places. And thank you for reminding us that we're one state, right? And we're a unified state. Give it up again for ACR Health and Lisa. I want to acknowledge we've been joined by another great elected official, good friend of mine, I know a good friend of Assemblymember Brunson, Assemblymember David Weprin joins us right there, all the way from Queens. Dirk, you've heard of Queens, right? Yeah. Thank you again to Elisa New Pride Agenda for hosting us. Give them another round of applause. To our honorees, ACR Health, to Assemblymember Harry Bronson, to Lisa Crespo, New Pride Agenda. Another round of applause for these great honorees. The work is ahead of us, but we've got a great team, right? Thank you. Happy Pride. We'll see many of you, I suspect, on Sunday at the parade, right? Great. So I think there's, huh?
March.
The march, excuse me, the march. I think there's still some refreshments.
Yes.
And the fans are going, so stay cool, and thank you for being with us. Have a great evening, everyone.